Hi, welcome to New Moon Celebrations. This is Rose Martin, and I just want to encourage you today not to let your hearts be troubled. God has a plan, and we're going to talk about that plan today. What we're going to talk about today is not fortune telling, it's not predicting, it is not New Age philosophy. What it is ancient biblical wisdom on understanding the heavens. It's called the divine science of astrology. This is a gift that has been available since creation, was practiced by our forefathers. In fact, Abraham was the lead astrologer at his time. He wrote a book called Sefer Yetzirah, which is called the Book of Creation, and in it he speaks about the heavens and the stars. This is a rich tradition and heritage in the Jewish culture. This is available for believers, but has been banned by the church. We are now coming into a time where things are changing. The Lord wants us to look higher. We are priests and kings in his heavenly kingdom. We are co-creators with him, and he wants us to know his heavens. He does not want us to walk around in fear and in darkness and insecurity, not knowing what is happening. He wants to show us. Now, what we're going to look at today is the map of the heavens at this current time. Now, this is the map of the heavens. We still have to drive on this map. We drive along with the Lord on this map. And what we're using on this map is the pictures that are available in the heavens. And this one is happening right now as I record this on April 16th, 2020. This is happening right now. And I went out this morning to take a picture of it, but my camera doesn't work as good as that one, so this is one from India or something. That is the picture. We see the moon, we see Mars, we see Jupiter and Saturn. Now when we print that out, and with our computer technology, here they are right up here, forming the same pattern. Of course, we have other planets all around, but we don't see those. They're under the earth, they're in different places too far away. In fact, right there we've got on that picture, we have the moon, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter showing, but there's also Pluto right next to it, which is adding a lot to what's going on. So now each one of these planets in the spiritual realm has a meaning. And this is what we look at every month. Wonderful things happened in the Bible. First of all, this was the month that the Lord arranged the order of the tribes to camp around the tabernacle. He gave them all their orders and then their marching orders. And here are the order. This is the Numbers version, because there are different ones. There's the blessings in Genesis, and there's all the way to Revelation, which is a different order of the tribes. But because we are looking at the heavenlies, and because God commanded Moses to build the ark from what he saw, and the tabernacle, I'm sorry, he did tell Noah too, but the tabernacle, Noah was also knew the heavens, so, but we're not talking about Noah now. But the tabernacle, so he put the order of, Moses was to see the order of the heavens, and so then in alignment with that, the tabernacle's in the middle, and then we have the order of the tribes that God said this is where you're going, and we're going to be led by Judah in this case, in the east. So we've got an order. This is what happened in the second month in the Bible. So this would be an indication for us too this month. Let's find out what tribe we belong to. Now I'm going to put that on a separate video, just in case you don't want to hear about that. But we're going to talk about the different tribes and the one that you would belong to. So, and also then in this month was when they received manna. So they learned to rely on the Lord for the food. And then they also, the cloud lifted and they started their journey. So in this sense, it's a time of uncertainty. They're going out to a new place, their new order, their new way. It's uncertain. So this is the time right now that we've got to hunker down on our faith in the Lord and understand what he wants us to do. It's an uncertain time. And the month of Iyar, Taurus, the qualities that it has, it's an earth sign, which means it's practical and stable. It deals with our resources. It deals with our money. It deals with our values. And it asks us this month to evaluate that in our lives. Every month there's a different theme that we now look at our lives and say, well, how am I doing with my money and my resources and my values? Am I, whatever the Lord wants to speak to you about, this is what we seek him about. There's a order of this, but yet there's flexibility in communicating with him. So it's not legalistic. We're just using the markers of the heavens and the timings of the Lord to move forward. So this is the month that we are valuing. What do we value? What is the also deals this month with nature, with the sensualness, with the touching, with breathing, with all of our five senses, with going out into nature. It deals with the earth. And so these are the things that are also being affected in the heavenlies. And when we add to that what's going on in the current time, then we can understand what is going on right now. So I'm going to go through that right now for you so that you can get an idea, because things are going on, they are frightening, they are scary, but when you know that God has a plan and that there is an end to this at some point, and there's a method to the madness, then it could help us to cope with it. Now the Lord has been preparing us already for a year. He has been telling us every month through the divine, the sacred geometry of the heavens and the numbers and all that, to get ready every month to focus on a different area of our lives and build our foundation on him. And this is still the year of the foundation. This is the year of the awakening. This is the year of the mouth, speaking. This is the month now of talking about speaking, is also of proper thinking. So our thinking needs to be brought into alignment. So there's a lot of stuff. We don't focus on everything every month, but what the Lord speaks to this month. So anyhow, what we're going to talk about, the Lord's been preparing us. There's going to be a shaking. Build your foundation. Now, a lot of us didn't have a choice. The Lord, things happen in our lives that there's a shaking that happened in our lives. And through the natural progression of things, the first is the leaders. The leaders have been shaken. The cardinal signs, the leaders, the initiators, they have been going through a shaking. They have been going through the toughest times of their lives right now. So if you've been going through that, you have been probably one of these leaders. And hopefully you're coming out of it now. And now we, strengthened, can help the rest of the people who are now just beginning to go through this, who had no idea, who weren't prepared. And now we start working into, first of all, we're still identifying the problems, but then we start working on fixing them. So anyhow, then we had a major thing happen and prepare. We weren't really sure what, but to prepare for something, because there were some very, very serious signs in the heavens. This deals with the Bina, Saturn, and Da'at, which is Pluto. These two, one is a structure. The other one is to break it down, break down. It's like the breaking down and the phoenix rising. So we've had things being breaking down, shaken, secrets coming out, the structures, top-down structures being shaken up and come to our attention. And so for sure we have seen that. This is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. And so now this is the energy we're going through, and it's going to be continuing for a while. Now this major thing that we're going through is going to last for a year or two. This is serious. This is a historic time. When you see these planets lined up, this does not happen. The last time that Saturn and Pluto came together was about 500 so years ago, when the Protestant Reformation happened. And right now, this is what's happening, a tremendous change and shifts in the spiritual realm of people. So that's what's happening now. And so then what's going to continue on through this year is now we're going to break away from the structure, still the structure, but we're going to still looking from top-down structure and authority and all that. We're going to move to more humanitarian, more group-oriented. Instead of the focus always being on money and material things, we're going to move to a more intuitive and spiritual and intellectual theme. For 180 years now, we've been in a very materialistic time, and now we're going to go to a more intellectual and communicative time, and that deals with our technology and all this stuff. So right now, then we've got the Saturn, of course, which is also constriction and holding back and slowing down. And we've got then the energy of the wanting the new, trying the new relationships, the new ways, building the new structures. Okay, so the things that's just starting now to really, really, really break apart. I mean, look at us. We're sitting at home at this time. I mean, can you believe that we are sitting at home so quietly and peacefully? The Lord is giving us time now to step away from everything, to think about what have our values been? What do you think? What is important? You know, we've been going through these routines and patterns and striving for material and, you know, all kinds of things that are really against the Lord. So he has put a stop in it, you see? So it's not for our bad, it's for our good. What is happening is for our good, even though it's a very, very serious time. And so here we're going to continue this now, where it's going to grind. I mean, if there's areas in your life you've been dealing with, you know, it's like a roto-rooter to get it out of your lives. God wants to identify in your life and give you the ability to overcome and get it in alignment with Him. So we got that this going on this year, and of course it goes right along with what's happening with politics and the election and all that. So through the election, we can expect this to continue on. Now what happens then after that is where this once every 20 years, this configuration happens, which is Jupiter and Saturn together. Jupiter in Hebrew is called Tzedek, and then Saturn is called Shabtai. So these are like Tzedek, which is righteousness, Chesed, God's goodness, mercy, spirituality, religion, expansion, being paired up then with this planet again of structure, the word, the strength. So now righteousness and God's understanding are coming together, ushering in a new way every 20 years. This was the same configuration that happened when the three wise men were looking for Yeshua and found him. Now there are other things going on at that time, just like 500 years ago this configuration changed. Martin Luther, every so many years, like it's a major thing. So we've got a portion of that, but every 20 years a new government, heavenly government, comes down, and that's what's happening at the end of 2020. So going into 2021 then, we're going to move. We're going to go forward, although it's not going to be that easy, because we've got the righteousness, the strength, and all that being motivated, ruffled up by Chokhmah, which is Uranus. Chokhmah, which is the initial impulse from God coming down. This is like some spiritual stuff here. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I've been dealing with this for many years now and understand this. So I just pray that you begin to understand this, and you will. You will, because this is what God is showing us at this time. He's got his heavens that we are co-creating with him. We're not co-creating the heavens with him. We are co-creating our lives. We are ruling and reigning with him. God says in Genesis that he created the sun to rule by day, the moon to rule by night. So what does this ruling mean? God rules. God rules through his structure. And this is all that we know, maybe a little more. His structure. Now, we are a part of the earth. We go along with it. But we are not controlled by these planets and these influences. They are a guideline for us. In fact, in the Jewish tradition and the oral law, it says we are above the planets. And it tells us in the Word that we are seated above everything with Yeshua. So we are above this, and we are not subject to this. And why? Because Israel says Israel is not subject. Israel does not have a mazel. Israel is not subject to the planets. Why? Because of the Word. The Word is what gives them the power to overcome every one of these things. These are obstacles in our lives. Obstacles happen every day, but the Word gives us the ability to get through them. And so now the Lord is saying, structure, get your life in order, because a good thing is coming at the end. Now, a lot of believers don't want to think about this kind of thing, because it's like, we're all just waiting to go to heaven. I mean, let's get this going already. The world is getting bad, and it is time for us to lead. But you know what? I think that the Lord wants us to live this life. He wants us to bring His light into the world. Why don't we try and get the world as best as we can for Him, getting ready, get the bride ready? What are we being ready for? We want to get our lives and the lives around us ready for His coming. So these invitations to get to know ourselves, get to know His heavens, get to know what's going on so that we can be an influence. People talk about the 7 mountains of influence. Where is your place? Now is the time to get our marching orders and get into our place. So I'm going to go over the exact signs on a separate video for those of you who want to listen to that. But for this time, I just want you to be assured that life is going according to God's plan, and there is still time now to get grounded on Him. This month, we're looking at our values. We're looking at the money. When we put Jupiter and Pluto together, that's the big money clash. Big money clash. Money, finances. This is what's going on in the world. Everything is being broken down, and the structures. I mean, first it was the government and all that, the top-down structures, and that's still going on. But look at how it's shaken up everything. I mean, our food distribution, the way that we get medicines, or the way they deal, and the bureaucracy and the red tape and all that stuff, that's being taken away. Entertainment is being shaken. We've got to look at different ways of doing it. And when we have that chokhmah that is there, which is the technological part, this is helping us to open up to be technological and communicate with one another on a technological basis. So it's lining right up with what's going on in the heavens. So I just want to encourage you to keep your eyes on things above and not on earthly things. Seek the Lord this month. What would He have you to do? What area of your life do you need grounded? And, it's just a matter of being aware of it. You don't have to beat yourself up. You just say, Lord, what is it? You just kind of think about it. Start thinking about it. He wants us every month to think about a different area of our lives so that when we complete these processes, this cycle, year after year after year, we've built up into His likeness, into Him. We're thinking about these things so that we can line them up with the Word. You do your own research on what kind of verses go with that to back up where you need to be strengthened. So this is all built on the Word of God. So I encourage you to just keep going. Keep going. The Lord has a plan, and you are part of it. If you are here, you're part of this plan. This is a historic time, and we will see many good things coming out of this. And it's still going to be serious the next year or two, not as intense. We're going to start putting this together now. We're going to start putting it together. So I thank you for listening. I pray you've been blessed, and I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.